Okay, hi everybody, thank you for joining me. Let's pull out the hair bucket. Today on this episode of Late Night Rants Hating Capitalism, that's just what I do. That's my only one real hobby right now. And I'm gonna do it publicly, and all of you are going to listen to me hate on capitalism. And then hopefully start hating capitalism yourself too. Okay, let's go. I'm here, to say something about the issue that I think we all should be addressing. But apparently all these YouTubers are too scared to post a real video about this, and they just resort to not posting anything for the week, which is great. Like, go raise awareness on your platform, use your platform to donate, whatever. But I feel like I get the sentiment that people don't want to get political, but this isn't political. This isn't politics. This is human rights. Why is this part? What? Okay, I'm gonna take the first shot. I'm so angry. Okay, so it's officially been confirmed that my memory card is homophobic because I ran out of space mid-filming. I don't know where I got to in a period of time, so I'm just going to reiterate every point that I said after I cut this shred of hair off. I think most of the discourse that's happened over the past few days has been around the fact that looting, as the media would like to cover it, is being used against local business owners who are black themselves or people of color. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think anybody who believes looting as a legitimate form of protest actually thinks that looting isn't bad for the people that are being looted, especially local business owners. I'm not delegitimizing any of the hurt, any of the loss that's incurred through this. But there's a big but there. Property can be replaced. The hundreds of thousands of human lives, of human rights, of human dignity that's been lost over the past centuries and centuries and centuries of racism, unrelenting police brutality, those can be replaced. If you could start a GoFundMe and fucking bring George Floyd's life back, do it. In the ideal world, of course, peaceful protest is the best way to go about things. I would love that. Are you kidding me? But the truth is, the system is broken. You can't say that it's bad to loot places because, oh, property, oh, stolen goods, oh my god, people were so immoral. You can't do that and still pretend like you support the Black Lives Matter movement and say shit like, oh, I totally understand your pain. I get it, man. If I were the victim of systemic violence, I would always be, so sad, so scared, you know? But I don't support the way that you're going about it. I don't like your emotional response, you know? I don't think violence is the right solution. You obviously have other options, right? What? Being killed? Being killed again? What else? These are so many options, right? I just don't like looting. All forms of protest is legitimate protest. Protesting is also a concept that envelops many, many avenues in which people could go on, right? If we're gonna go back to the good cops, bad cops narrative that we've been talking about for a while there, in a system that exists, good cops and bad cops. There are some cops who never kill people, and there are some cops who do on a regular basis. But the fact remains that cops do things. Cops as a collective, things happen because they exist. In protesting, there exist good, peaceful protesters, and there exist bad, violent protesters. I'm using air quotes here. And because both of them exist at the same time, because these people are going out there and protesting, things are happening because of this group of people who are doing things. Why do you think protesters must be saints? Why do you think black people must be so fucking strong to take centuries of systemic violence on their backs, going on peaceful protests and getting met with fucking rubber bullets, tear gas, pepper spray, and still expect them to take it like a champ and to internalize all that and be I'm above this. I'm so strong. I'm a black person and I'm powerful and I'm gonna peacefully protest against state-issued violence. You know, even if you don't like looting, I don't like the thought of looting either, but it should make you uncomfortable. It is supposed to go against the state. It's supposed to go against the system that places more value on monetary things like property or goods over the lives that it's been actively killing. I just don't understand people who think it's not their problem. And I've said this before, I don't know if that even got recorded, but, like, whatever fucking shit you do, and you're talking to yourself like, oh, yeah, like, I've donated. I've talked to my family, friends, at the dinner table for 1 second about, Black Lives Matter movement. I've, like, signed a few petitions. I'm done here. Like, I'm morally justified in being finished with the Black Lives Matter movement. No! Yeah, I can't believe I have to explain this to you, but, like, what you are doing with these powerless hands are never going to be enough to repay the centuries and centuries of brutality, systematic violence, everything that's been done and forced onto black bodies. It's not going to be enough for you to, like, sign a few petitions and be like, okay, well, that's it, go back to my white privilege. And I'm saying this too for my Asian American community. I grew up in a household with anti-black sentiments. My parents are routinely afraid of black people. We would go into the streets, I would be like holding my mom's hand like a good 12-year-old, and we'd encounter a black person, any black person, and then she would squeeze my hand, and like we would like run away with quick little steps. I've been taught to be afraid of black people from a very early age, and it's time that we do more than just what we think we should do. It's time that we really, really, like, took a closer look inside of ourselves and saw the need to be more openly engaged with the world that we live in. Because we can't escape the historical context. I'm sorry, if you're apolitical, you're silent and you're siding with the oppressor. It doesn't matter if you're, like, intrinsically, like, praying for black people. If you're intrinsically like, oh, I support the Black Lives Matter movement. No! What? There isn't a deep down. I'm quoting BoJack Horseman here. I just got to season 2, very excited for what's to come. There isn't a deep down. What you are is just what you do. It's your actions that truly define what you believe in, not what you, like, think you believe in. And honestly, if you have to see people being murdered over and over and over again, if you have to undergo that to care about systemic racism, you've gotta take a closer look at your tiny moral compass in here. But when capitalism doesn't speak the language of peace, you can't go along with that anymore. I'm gonna repeat again, property can be replaced. People's lives and people's rights cannot. So, I don't know if you could, like, hear my anger in that video or what, but I was pretty angry at the time when I filmed it. It's been a few days after that. I am just as angry, but I will try to sort of sum up what I think I was feeling, but I didn't express clearly enough. So, okay, so let's imagine a circus board, right? We got our light bulb, we got our electricity, we got whatever else goes into a circus board. I failed physics. Imagine that we, the people, are the electricity, and we're just going through it, and we're like, okay, like, we gotta light the light bulb, right? We gotta make it work. And at some point, we realize that, oh shit, we can't get to the light bulb because there's a gap between our end of the circuit board and the end with the light bulb in it. Well, some people may say that, well, like, we could try making a parallel circuit board, we can add another loop to it, and another loop to it, and we can try all these other different avenues of getting through to the light bulb. Okay, so we try that. The problem is the gap is still there. No matter how many ways we add of going around it, we're never gonna reach the light bulb if we are physically avoiding talking about and acknowledging that the gap is there. And some people may say that, okay, well, maybe what we can do is to amp up the electricity level, like amp up the voltage. Okay, we amped up the voltage. Well, what can we do? Well, there's a little gap in the circuit board. The only solution to this is to fix the system, to mend it so that it's not broken anymore. And then afterwards, like, let's talk all about adding loops. Let's talk all about amping up the voltage, lowering the voltage, so the brightness of the light bulb is just the way that we like it. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm talking about America. No matter how much we want to be progressive, we still exist in this context. We've all grown up being conditioned to think about the world in a certain way, to see the world in a certain way, and it takes a lot of active work to undo that, to undo the narrative in ourselves before we could undo the narrative in the system, in the world around us. Obviously, it's going to be uncomfortable for you to accept that, you know, if looting is a problem now, then perhaps centuries of systematic racism is a bigger problem. You know, before I filmed this, one thing I was gonna say is, you know, to be like, oh, like, it doesn't really matter if you think looting is okay or not, because at the end of the day, like, if we're donating, then it's not my business to change your viewpoint. But then I watched a video on Instagram, and it's by @Iverly, and what she said in the video is, we have to accept the fact that it's going to be uncomfortable to talk about these things, that some people may judge us for what we think is right, that some people may find the things we say offensive. These clashes in opinion are inevitable because the more you stay silent, the more you are complicit in the current narrative. If you're not actively speaking up at your brunch table, with your family, with your close circle of friends, if you're not being the one who is angry, who is outraged when somebody makes a racist remark, if you're not being that person, like I don't care if you're introverted or not, if you're not being that person to call people out on their implicit biases, then I don't know, like, I think the narrative is just going to continue going on. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if we're not continuously taking these actions to re-educate ourselves, beyond just these few weeks of riots and these few weeks of activism, if we're not continuing that energy into the future, then what are we doing? So don't be afraid of being the dissenting opinion. Don't be afraid of being accountable for yourself. Don't be afraid of self-reflecting, to pick apart the way that you've been seeing this world, to pick apart just what biases you may have had. This is what it's like to be on the right side of history. You have to be revolutionary in your action and your thoughts. And you know, if you're feeling offended by the blatant call-outs of your privilege that's not being made to be as palatable as possible for your little snowflakey self, I can't believe that I'm using the term snowflake. Maybe you should reflect on why you feel like you're being called out and being offended. Like, isn't that the whole point of this movement? The whole point is to change people's implicit biases, and if your implicit biases is always putting yourself first above everything else and ensuring your own privileged mindset to be preserved, we can't do that anymore. Like, we just don't subscribe to that kind of behavior anymore, you know? But on that note, you know, unsubscribe to white supremacy, but subscribe to this channel, am I right? Back to the video, I guess? Whatever, bye. Okay, I've been talking to the channel. I'm gonna keep cutting my hair. Whoopity-doo, bye-bye. So after that chop, hopefully to cut all the toxic people out of your life, fuck these bitches. Cancel culture is back, but only for these people. Okay. Honestly, I'm taking this look. Either way, to conclude my little rant, everybody should be as involved as they possibly can, as long as it isn't performative, as long as it goes deeper than just that one IG repost about like the 6 different ways you can help when you haven't even done any of them. I'm looking at you, I know some of you exist. Oh, one more thing. It's Pride Month. Yay, happy Pride! Haha, we're queer! If you're gonna celebrate Pride, but you're not gonna stand for Black Lives Matter, bitch! The rights of all minorities are connected! But yeah, don't forget that the first Pride was a riot. The first Pride was a violent protest at Stonewall. Dude, this kind of slaps, not gonna lie. Back to fighting capitalism. Good night,